What's happening, guys? It's your girl Mina. Welcome back to my channel. You guys already know what it is. Happy Monday. I hope you all had a wonderful Monday, however it went. Actually, you know what? I want to hear about how your Monday went. So let me know in the chat. Big up to everyone that's locked in. Of course, like I said, you lot already know what it is. We got a bit to talk about, and I'm not gonna lie. Originally, the idea of this stream was just to do predominantly Manchester United stuff, but I can't help but want to talk about FFP. I'm not gonna lie. I can't help but want to talk about that. So big up to everyone in the chat. We got some Manchester United news. We're expecting some Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos news to come sometime during the week, where maybe some more transfer talk, maybe, but I know it's gonna be predominantly about Ineos and their plans for Manchester United and Sir Jim Ratcliffe's plans. Reportedly, they're looking to shake things up, and I think they've already kind of done that with Arnold announcing that he's leaving. Murto is next out of the door. I'm hearing some talk about transfer links. I don't see anything happening in January, if I'm being honest, unless they make some outgoings. And not only that they make some outgoings, that is actually some outgoings that bring in some money, some cash. I think that's the most important thing. I think Jadon Sancho is probably the most likely person to leave. I would be shocked if anyone else leaves, but we've had reports that it could be Anthony Martial's out the door. Rafael Varane is another one that's been talked about to leave. Who else? Casemiro has been spoken about, and Fabrizio Romano actually gave some new information today regarding that. I think out of all the names that I named, it's most likely Jadon Sancho and then maybe on Anthony Martial. And if that happens, I could see United possibly going out and getting a striker. The only way that I see us getting a striker, I'm not going to lie, is if it's on loan. Because it sounds like Manchester United's stocks or Manchester United's funds is tied up in next summer, especially with Ineos coming in and Sir Jim Ratcliffe coming in. I don't see them coming in and just doing a Todd Bowley and just splashing cash immediately. I see them assessing stuff. I see them setting up a good recruitment scheme and having some recruitment plans, and then going in the summer to buy some players. But big up to everyone, of course. We're going to talk about, obviously, listen, I know it says Manchester United, Ineos stuff, United, all of that stuff, but we're going to talk about FFP. And the reason why we're going to talk about it is because obviously Everton have had a 10-point deduction for this season regarding one charge. So we're going to talk a bit about what do you lot think is right for, Chelsea, Man City, other clubs who are currently being investigated by an independent commission. What do you think is the right punishment? I'm going to drop a link soon in the chat so you guys can get involved, can come through, click on the link and come join. And I want to hear people's thoughts, of course. Keep it respectful. You guys know what it is. Keep it strictly good vibes. You lot know that's the motto. You lot know that's the motto here. Big up to everyone. If you are new here, make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you comment. You know the usual. You lot know when you come in, you wipe your feet, you like the video, of course, and you can join the membership club. You can become a minion. You can become a minion. You get your badges, you get your emojis. Custom content is on the way. Literally editing one right now. I'm not gonna lie, I'm literally editing one right now. So you lot can get all your custom content as well, and a whole load of other stuff. Big up to everyone in the chat. Let me go through a couple of it. Big up Daniel says the stream started at a perfect time to save us from boring England. I just saw a clip of Harry Maguire passing it straight to the striker and then chasing him and then giving away what I thought was a penalty, but the ref didn't give it. Some things never change. Some things never change. Big up to Ravi, says thoughts on United moving older players on. We're going to talk about that because, Varane, Casemiro has been a topic. But why am I hearing Manchester United are linked for a move to Griezmann? I'm sorry, does that not just defeat the entire point of having a new sporting movement, or if you want to call it that? Why are we now going for Griezmann? I want to know if you lot would actually take Griezmann as well. I'm not going to lie. I would like to know if you lot would take Griezmann, if you guys think that's a player that United should be moving for. I don't know. I just feel like with Varane, it's reported that he could... Actually, let me actually pin that question. We might as well just start with that. But also, big up to Anthony says, good evening. Monday been chilled. Was studying. I hope you got a lot of studying done. I don't miss those days. Big up Koala says, big up Mina, what's happening to the football world? FFP, 15% injuries increase. Trent Alexander in midfield for England. I think that guy, the manager, Southgate. I think Southgate's trying some new stuff. It looks like Southgate's trying some new stuff. It'll be interesting to see what he does for the Euros. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I got no faith in Southgate. I don't think he is the manager to take this golden crop of English players to the final line, to the victory. I don't see it happening, but we'll see in the Euros, of course. But let's get into it. Yeah, let's get into it. I'm going to start with Ravi's question. Big up to Ravi, because this is essentially what I actually wanted to talk about, which was Manchester United reportedly their transfer plans, especially under Ineos. We've been already linked to the likes of Tapsoba. We've been linked to Todibo. I'm seeing reports that United could go in for a bid at 40 million. 40 million for Todibo. If this is what it means to have a connection with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, where we won't get bumped in the transfer window. When I say bumped, guys, I mean we get robbed, we get held for ransom and pay it. If it's true and Manchester United are going to go in for about a 40 million fee for Todibo, I hear it. I'm all for it. It's reported that Manchester United are looking to move on Varane. Of course, Fabrizio Romano actually said it's actually not cemented, and I saw actually quite a few different reporters reporting about it, saying the price tag was around 25 to 30 million. The biggest problem, of course, with like every other Manchester United player, is the wages. The wages is the biggest problem for Varane in terms of moving him on. But one club that is interested is Bayern Munich, which is actually interesting to me because I don't see it. I don't see it. I just didn't understand why they would. They've got Upamecano. They got Upamecano. They got so many players. They got Upamecano. They got Kim Min Jae. They've got De Ligt, who I ain't even actually seen him play. I've played with him more on FIFA than I've actually seen him play. Fair enough, I don't watch Bayern Munich a lot, but when I have watched them, I ain't seen him playing much. So I just don't see why they're going for Varane when they kind of splashed out in the summer on De Ligt to bring him over from, I think it was Juve he was at. So to me that doesn't make sense unless it's for like leadership qualities. That's the only way I could understand that move. I genuinely thought, and I genuinely do think, if we move on Varane, if we move on Casemiro, it will be to Saudi Arabia and them kind of destinations, because really and truly the biggest hurdle will not be the transfer fee. The biggest hurdle will be offloading those wages. And I know for a fact Manchester United probably don't want to have to play the middleman in terms of wages and valuation and paying the difference between whatever the club offers, but Casemiro, Varane, for me, I think do you guys think it's important for Manchester United to actually move players on first and foremost, especially older players? And I understand because Casemiro reportedly, Sir Jim Ratcliffe was not impressed with that transfer. He was not impressed with it. It didn't make sense as to why they went out and spent 70 million on a declining player. You can say that kind of stuff. Can I just say it's not harmful to say that he was declining at the point that we brought him. He was still great, but not top cream of the crop kind of thing. So Sir Jim Ratcliffe was not already impressed with Manchester United going for that move. So I'm not surprised that as soon as Sir Jim Ratcliffe is coming in, it's reported that United are looking to offload Casemiro. United are looking to offload all these older players where, to be honest, can you not name how many players do we have over 30? How many players do we have? Obviously, Johnny Evans, Christian Eriksen, etc. But Casemiro, Varane is 29. Who else? Bruno is like 28, 29 as well. Luke Shaw is like 27. And that's another player that I think will actually be moved on in due time. And the reason why I'm saying that is because Luke Shaw's been here for a substantial amount of time. Yeah, he's been here for a long time. And I think at some point, and this is not me saying that his quality has decreased or he's not a great player. I just think at some point, you've got to move on from players, especially when you've had the best of them. And I feel like Manchester United are probably have had the best of Luke Shaw, and maybe this season they're having the best of him, because once he gets to 29, 30, once he starts, declining with age, it's going to be even more difficult to offload him. You look at, left backs in the world. How many quality left backs are there? There's quite a few. There's actually quite a few. How many could United actually go out and get? I can name one or two. I think with his injuries as well, it's been probably the most difficult part, because he's a player where when he's 100% fit, you can get 100% out of him. However, he gets injured. And I think, like we say it all the time, what's that saying that they always say? I always hear it on United View. They say, what was it? Availability is the best whatever. I can't remember. Availability is the best ability or something like that. So players who are available and always fit. And one thing I will say is talking about fitness. One thing I will say is that so many players are getting injured, and they are only going to increase the number of games played. They're only, with the Champions League next season is how many more teams are in it. It's becoming like a league thing where you're playing every team twice, or you're playing them home and away. That's become another competition. That's more games. On top of that, let's be honest, guys, international break is nonsense. It's actually nonsense. I would prefer international break where players don't go. Just stay at your club. Rehabilitate. I genuinely prefer that. And the reason why I'm saying that is obviously I'm not a fan of international break. I like international football. I like international football tournaments. I like the Euros. I like the World Cup. I like AFCON, and I understand some of these games are qualifiers. These right now they're playing the World Cup qualifiers. The last break they were playing AFCON qualifiers, Euro qualifiers, etc. But sometimes they're playing Nation League. I mean, what the hell is the Nations League? That's literally a competition that they've created out of the blue. Like, they've just created it for another reason for French or the Netherlands or Italy or England to get a trophy. And to me, that's just a waste of time. And how many players get injured in international break? I've seen Man City, I've seen like 5 Man City players drop out of international squads. I've seen English players drop out just this week. Bellingham dropped out of the England squad. So many people dropped out. Gavi tore his ACL in an international game. So if we're going to talk about injuries, and the reason why I'm talking about this is because we're talking about the likes of, Varane, his inability to be fit, Luke Shaw's injury problems. If we're going to talk about the injury problems, we have to talk about one of the causes, which I think is an important thing. And we can't, and I think we have to move past the point. And when I say we, I'm not talking about me, because I don't say this, but I think we have to move past the point of saying, these footballers earn a lot of money. Why can't they play? Playing 90-minute games, 3 times a week for your club, then on a Sunday, straight after your game on a Sunday, say you finish your game 6 o'clock, you're leaving for international duty, you're meeting up with your international team on Monday, Wednesday you're playing another 90, Saturday you're playing another 90, but there's no break. The only time you get a break is literally in, the off season, and even that is not a long period. It's about, I think, normally, so if you get to the Champions League final, Champions League is normally the first week of June, and then you get a break until basically the end of June, and then you come back to your club at the beginning of July. That's normally when teams come back for pre-season. We have to talk about, if United are going out and, Varane, for example, retired from international football at the age of 29. He retired at the 29 is, to me, is like, I feel like you're still in your peak at the age of 29. I think you start to decline 30, 31, but I think 29 is the last bits of your peak. He retired from international football because his body couldn't handle playing club and country football. At the beginning of this season, do you guys remember the statement that Varane made on Twitter about the fact that they were in talks with the PFA and the Players Football Association, and that because of the number of games that they're playing? At some point, it becomes a problem. At some point, I think it really becomes a problem. Sorry, guys. I just went on a tangent there, but it's one thing that really annoys me. I hate international break, guys. I cannot stand international break. The 2 weeks, like, we had an international break in September. We had one in October. And we got one in November. I think the next international break between now is in March. So that's a long time away. But I hate international break. And I genuinely think it's pointless. And the same thing in the women's game as well. I think it's pointless. Playing stuff like Nation League and all of this stuff is just ridiculous. Big Up Koala says, selling Casemiro would be a stupid decision. I rate Casemiro above all the midfielders at the club. Even when Cass is playing shite, he's the best midfielder at the club. I'm going to come back to this. I'm going to come back to this. I'm going to get through a few other of the comments. Big Up to Redwan says, this Southgate football is actually abysmal. Southgate ain't the guy to take England to the, like, I think Southgate has taken England as far as he can. That finals was a fluke. He wasn't meant to get to that Euros final. It's just that the England team were good and they got through their stages and everything. So I think that, he's taken England as far as he can. And the sooner that they realize that they can't get any further with him, the better. But I think after the Euros, he's gone. But yeah, England still can't even win the Nations League. Look at the teams that have won it. Top nations only. That is a valid point. I think it's just pointless anyway. Big Up to Starlord says, Varane can bounce. He ain't played 5 games in a row since he joined. I hear it. But for me, it's like I said, the injuries, we know where the injury crisis is. But let me come back to this point, and then there's a few questions actually that I'm going to come back to further up. Koala mentions about Casemiro. Let me actually drop this link in the chat. If you don't want to join, feel free to join. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. Just make sure you stick your name in. You don't have to show your face. Just be respectful, good vibes, good vibes. I'll slap the link right there. But it's interesting about this Casemiro point because, the reason why I think United signed Casemiro in the first place, I don't think he was ever in the plan for United to sign. I don't think he was ever in the plan for United to sign. I think it was just a coincidence. Real Madrid were looking to offload him. If I'm not wrong, that's the year that they brought Tchouaméni. They brought Tchouaméni from Monaco. They needed to balance their books because they spent a big fee on Tchouaméni. I think they also brought Camavinga as well. I think that's the year they brought Tchouaméni and Camavinga. And obviously the following year, they were going to go out for Bellingham. So they need to balance their books. That's why they had to get rid of Benzema off their books as well. I think if United had got De Jong, they would never have gone for Casemiro. And the reason why is obviously, you lot know, we were chasing, United were chasing De Jong for a predominant amount of that summer transfer window, a very traumatic summer window as a Manchester United fan. Because imagine the amount of here we goes that I saw from Fabrizio Romano saying that, a deal has been agreed between the two clubs and then nothing. But Casemiro was a signing that maybe United should have got 2-3 years before. And even though I'm saying that, yeah, I still feel like last season United needed a DM. United still need a DM. We still need a DM because Casemiro is not the longevity that we're looking for. Amrabat, for me, I can't give an opinion on him because I feel like he hasn't really had that much of an impact on the team for me to be like, yeah, Amrabat is the answer for the DM, or no, he's not. I think Casemiro for me came in at a time where there was a lot of other blanks in the team that needed to be filled. Yeah, we needed a striker, but we managed to make do with what we had that season. We've always needed we've needed a midfielder, guys, since Carrick left. Carrick left United. Yeah, Carrick retired, came back as a coach. Yeah, and we still hadn't replaced him. I bet you any money when he was the assistant coach alongside Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I bet you any money he was joining in with the drills and he was slotting into that midfield because we didn't even replace him. I mean, look how long it took us to even replace the backline that we had of Rio and Vidic, etc. I don't even think we've replaced that yet. I think we're still trying to replace that. My point is that with the whole Casemiro thing, I think the biggest issue with him, or just him being at Manchester United, is the fact that he's joined at a later stage in his life, meaning you're only going to get a minimal best out of him. And the reason why I'm saying the minimal best is because, the league is competitive. Yeah. If he can't keep up with it, he's coming toe to toe in a midfield against the likes of younger players, players with a bit more agility, players with a bit more speed. I'm talking about the Rodris and the Rices and whatnot. Caicedo, even if I want to mention him. But I'm saying that there's a lot of, players within his position. Don't get me wrong, over his career, world class. He's had a world-class career. And I don't think anyone can argue that. But there's nothing bad with saying that maybe that player's time has come to an end at the club. Because now United, and even when United went to sign him, United were essentially looking for a relatively long future. Someone that you could get 4, 5, 6 years out of. We're never getting 4, 5, 6 years out of Casemiro. And I said this at the beginning of the season, and I remember someone laughed at me because I said that next summer, he will be the first player that United move on. He will be playing in Saudi next summer. And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that. But it just means that, again, the recruitment strategy at the club has failed the club. They failed them. Because how do you look at a player who's 30 already and say, yeah, 5-year contract, 250 a week, whatever, how much he's on. I don't even know how much he's on, but 250 a week, 5-year contract. Yeah, you can stay at the club till 35. That is absolute brain dead behavior. Excuse my language, but it's ridiculous. So I don't fault him. And I don't really fault the manager because I don't think he was the manager's signing. I genuinely feel like he was, I I genuinely feel like he was the club signing. It was that marquee signing. We needed that big name signing in the summer. Every summer, it seems like United are going for a big name signing, which is what the club have always like. They've always done it before, but it was always like players that you need to sign, marquee signings, sell shirts, etc. But the only thing I will say is I think the recruitment let the club down, because there's no way you give a player at that age that kind of contract and feel like that he's the answer for the next 6 years. There's a lot more younger. Amadou Onana in that same transfer window was on sale. He was on sale. Ibrahim Sangare left PSV the following summer. He's at Nottingham Forest now. He left PSV the following summer. Yeah. Yusuf Fofana was available, is still available, by the way, from Monaco. I think he's actually going to be a free agent this summer. And I understand Monaco probably wouldn't have sold him in that summer transfer window because they had sold Tchouaméni already. But you never know. You never know. Carrick played till he was about 34, 35. I have a theory, guys. I have a theory, yeah. And let me know if you agree. But I feel like if you've played in the Premier League for your entire career, I feel like you last longer. I feel like when you come from another European league, and this could be bullshit, by the way, excuse my language, but this might actually be bullshit. But I feel like when you come from another European league, Spanish, Italian, French, and you come later in your career, I don't think you'll play till 45, 46. Maybe Ibrahimovic is the anomaly, because that brother was playing till like what, 40, even though his last year, how when AC Milan won the league, how many games did he play? Full 90? I don't even know. But Ronaldo, again, another anomaly, because he also played in England. But if you talk about Scholes, was playing for how long? Scholes left. I remember Scholes retired and then came back, and he was still able to keep up with the league. Maybe it was different back then. I don't know, because I went to watch a Chelsea Legends game a couple months ago with my family, and I was watching Essien play football, and I swear it felt like he could probably still play football right now in the Premier League. I swear it felt like he hadn't lost a step. So maybe something was different back then. Maybe something's different back then. Koala still being controversial, says I would take Casemiro's minimal best over McTominay or Amrabat or Bruno. Bruno scored in the international break. Don't hate on Bruno. Big up to Sidaf, says, yo, Mina, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? I hope you're well. Hope you've had a good Monday. Ridwan says, but Casemiro was also player of the year just before he left for Man United. He was on fire. Madrid had just won a quadruple that year, I think, and Casemiro was excellent last season for us. Casemiro was amazing for us last season. He was excellent. Don't get me wrong. He had moments where I thought, what is this guy on? But I think when you look at the overall, game of the year, there was definitely more positives than there were negatives. Sorry, I don't know what happened this summer, but I feel like he just came back to preseason and he looked like he lost a step. I don't know what he was doing, and I genuinely don't know what happened in the summer. Maybe has he lost his passion for football? Is United a club where players come and lose their passion for football? I don't know, but I feel like he lost a step in preseason. And I'm not gonna lie, it's not just him. I felt the same about Lisandro Martinez, but Lisandro Martinez was coming back from an injury. Casemiro was just coming back to preseason. So there's a lot of players actually we could actually say that about. Big up to Lansdale, says Mina, just showing love. God bless. Big up. Ten Hag spoke so positively and highly on Casemiro last season. Have we not learned to not believe everything Ten Hag says about players? Have we not? Ten Hag spoke positively about when he first came in. He had nothing but praise for Harry Maguire. Said he wouldn't strip him of his wouldn't take his captaincy off him. Do you not remember? He said he wouldn't take captaincy off him. What did he do instead? Benched him. Then he has to take the captaincy off him. What did he do the following season? Take his captaincy off him. Ronaldo, he said he was going to sort out their issues. Bam, contract terminated. Bam, contract terminated. Who else? There's so much things he has said that he says one thing and he does another. You know what he also said? When he came in, and I swear there's so many articles about it, he said that he didn't understand why Zidane Iqbal was not playing senior football at Manchester United. He said this kid is good enough to play senior football, and he should be playing senior football in the team. Didn't give him 1 minute. Not even a minute of Premier League football. Didn't give him one. And that's why I say don't believe everything he says in the media. Don't believe everything that Ten Hag be saying in the media, guys, because you don't know Ten Hag just says what everyone likes to hear. You lot should know that. James Milner and Jordan Henderson were playing CDM in their mid to late 30s under Klopp and the asthma pump. The Chronicles of the Asthma Pump. You lot know what it is. If we have asthma pumps at Carrington, let Casemiro play till he's 40. I don't care. I'll take it. I will absolutely take it. No football heritage. Mourinho said it. It's true. There's a lot of things Mourinho has said that has come to light. Maybe they had to give long contracts because of FFP. Yeah, I think that's probably the main reason, because like you lot, if you lot don't know the way that they split the contract over the financial years. Otherwise, if they were giving out 2-year contracts, if they were giving out 3-year contracts actually to players, we would be in the same situation as Everton, because we would be essentially reporting these big wages and these big fees that we're paying. Sorry, so we'd be 70 million for Casemiro over a course of 3 years. I don't know what is that divided. Sorry guys, my maths ain't good off the top of my head, but that's about, we'd be reporting 23 million a year transfer fees in our books, which means more than likely not they would be reporting a big loss every year because of, you know, all the other fees that they'd have to account for. Then we'd be in an Everton situation where, you know, the 105 million loss, accumulated loss that you're allowed to make over a 3-year period, we'd get point deduction. We would have been, you know, we would have been right now protesting, saying, give us our points back. So I kind of get the whole FFP thing. I do understand it, the accounting perspective of transfers. But I think it raises some questions, because now Casemiro or Varane, for example, Bayern Munich aren't interested in Varane. Whether he's going or not, that's a different question. But they've explored the option. So that means that United could still, you know, talk to them, negotiate, see what their interest is and how far they're willing to go. I think United are only looking for transfers. They're not looking for any loan deals. The biggest issue would be is offloading his wages. That would be the biggest issue. It means that Manchester United would have to, similar to the rumors about Maguire and West Ham, because that was an issue, the wages. West Ham wanted United to kind of meet them halfway and cover the cost of what they weren't willing to pay. Bayern might want the same thing. So essentially, he will still be on your books. Even though you're paying maybe less than half, he would still be on your books. And I think in hindsight, I hope they realize that they've shot themselves in the foot with these kind of transfers, and hopefully that's the end of it, especially with Ineos coming in. So Jim Ratcliffe and this big sporting project that they kind of are quite serious about. I think that's the most important thing. I don't know, none of us know, I would say, how legit this Jim Ratcliffe thing is. None of us really know whether it's going to work out or not, because it's in the future. We can't predict it. But one thing I'm interested about is the fact that it seems like they've got their plan. They know the people that they want to bring in. They know the way that they want to go down. I mean, I saw reports that said that Erik ten Hag is going to have no involvement in transfers. And after the Antony thing, absolutely, I am all for that. Because it seems like Ten Hag's talent ID is a bit questionable. It's a bit questionable. He went out and, where is Tyrell Malacia, guys? Why is no one, honestly, why is no one asking where the hell Tyrell Malacia is? Anyway, let me not get sidetracked. But if that actually happens, and I feel like Erik ten Hag Erik ten Hag is not involved in transfers, I think it goes two ways. I think it either works out and it's positive. You know, they've got a sporting director, they've got a recruitment team, they've got a recruitment strategy, etc., and it is good. They only sign players that are part of, you know, the idea of the project that they have in mind, or Ten Hag is against it. I see it going two ways. I honestly see it going two ways. And I don't know enough about Ten Hag's personality. I don't know him personally. I don't know if that's something that he will be happy with, if that's something he's okay with. If that means he has to do less work, then so be it. All he has to do at this point is just focus on coaching. And I would like to think that the sporting project that they have in mind and the manager's goals align with each other. That's what I'm hoping, because otherwise they wouldn't keep the manager. And we haven't heard any news about the fact that they're looking to offload the manager. They're looking to bring in their own manager. We haven't heard any of that. We heard about Murto. We heard about Arnold. So when that news came out, it's not a surprise. It's not really caught you off guard because we anticipated it. But I haven't really heard nothing about them wanting to part ways with Ten Hag. As far as I'm concerned, I've heard that, in articles that his job is very much secure. So as long as the sporting idea and the sporting project that Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos have in mind, as long as that aligns with the manager and his plans, then surely 1+1 = 2. United have to be back at that point. Maybe not immediately, but there's a way back. There's a journey. There's a path for United to get back to the top. Am I overthinking it? I don't know. Let me go through some of the projects. Malacia's in the gulag. That guy is literally everyone just forgets about him. Like, I think everyone has fully forgotten that we have a guy called Tyrell Malacia that plays for the team. I know he's injured, and I know they said I think they said he'd be out for the entire season, but there's no reports of what his injury is. I told you Malacia is working on a new album. He's an artist in the Netherlands. He's living life. He's absolutely living life. Many not understanding one thing. Big up to Sidar for this comment. Says many not understanding one thing. Players can play till 40, but it's not for everyone. Some are brought at the club when they are young, so it's easy for them as they have the experience at the club. And I think that's why the likes of Wayne Rooney played quite long in the Premier League. He played quite long for Manchester United. How old was he when he left Man United? Like 30, 34? Was he? 35 maybe? He might have been around 34, 35. I can't remember exactly. But he lasted long. Obviously, Ronaldo's still playing. Messi's still playing. There's many people. Bonucci. I don't think Bonucci's that old. Pepe's still playing. He's at Porto right now. Casemiro didn't lose a step. There's no way Koala can't be for real. Casemiro didn't lose a step. Eric Ten Hag is playing shite football using shite tactics. Eric Ten Hag's the problem. Casemiro is not injured. He's probably learning English to play pro clubs with Jadon Sanchez. Buffon, Xavi, Casillas, Roberto Carlos, Zanetti, Daniel Alves, Iniesta, Maldini all had very lengthy careers. Why do you guys think it is that players don't be having long careers anymore? Like, they're not as long as, Casillas was playing until how old? Buffon was playing until how old? I wonder what it is, why players I wonder why they're not lasting too long. Man City's last year's treble-winning squad had players who were never bought at 30, but when they were much younger. And I believe the signing who was not Pep signing was KDB. Yeah, I think that was the case. In their starting 11, I think KDB was the only non-Pep signing. And I think that says a lot, guys, when you have a sporting project and a sporting kind of initiative. And actually, that is the perfect segue. I was going to do actually a separate stream maybe tomorrow regarding it. But the whole FFP thing, and we talk about City, and we talk about, obviously, Everton, we talk about Chelsea. What do you guys think is the right point deduction or the right punishment for Man City if they are found guilty of these charges? Because 115 charges is no joke. Everton had 10 points deducted for one charge that they owned up to. They said, come and investigate us. They cooperated. They got 10-point deduction, and now Leeds and Leicester and the teams that were relegated last season are trying to sue them because they're saying that you should have been relegated instead of us. Now, City, obviously, with their 115 charges, what is the right punishment for them? That's what I would love to know. That is what I would love to know. If we sign Todibo to play against Lisandro Martinez at right centre back, don't we also need top fullbacks? Wan-Bissaka and Dalot ain't it too, but he's better than Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Dalot at fullback. The way that I see it is Dalot has been given an extension. He's been given a contract extension. Dalot's not going anywhere anytime soon. Wan-Bissaka, I think his contract's expiring this summer. They have been in talks, haven't heard nothing yet about a deal being struck between them. I think United need a whole back line. I genuinely think they need a right back, they need a left back. I think that they need better depth in their centre-back options. Harry Maguire, Lindelof, big up to Lindelof, but he ain't going to cut it next season. I think they need younger players. Don't call me an ageist, but I think they need younger players. And I think older players is good for experience. It's good to, I wouldn't mind if Man United still had Varane. I feel like Varane wants to play every game. Yeah. He definitely don't want to be second fiddle, to Harry Maguire. He definitely don't want to be dropped for the likes of Johnny Evans. So, but the leadership he probably adds to the team, and the impact he has in the dressing room. And I think he'd be a great player for players to learn under, especially younger centre backs, the likes of Todibo. I want Castello Lukeba. Furthermore, I'd give me Lukeba and Simikan at RB Leipzig. Give me go to RB this is what I hate about Manchester United. Yeah. This is one thing I hate about Manchester United is that Castello Lukeba was available at Lyon in the summer. Yeah. Instead, RB Leipzig swooped in for him. He went to RB Leipzig. RB Leipzig ain't selling him or Simikan for anything less than 70, 80 million each, not combined, each. United could do with a Simikan because I feel like Simikan can play. And I actually wrote an article about this when 2 transfer windows ago, I think. The summer that Eric Ten Hag came in, I wrote an article about it, about players that United should sign. Simikan was one of them, Mohamed Simikan at RB Leipzig, a right-sided centre-back who can also play actually as a wing-back, as a right wing-back or a right-back. Very good with his feet. Obviously right-footed. Lukeba is left-footed. Both young players. One's 24, one's like 21, I think. They're very, very young, but I think Lukeba's ceiling is probably a bit higher than Simikan, but I rate them. I rate both of them. I would like United to go out and get them, but if we're going out to get Todibo, then we have to go out and get depth in the back line. I think, like I said, Maguire, Lindelof, Johnny Evans, not cutting it for next season as depth options. I wouldn't mind Varane staying, leadership purpose. I feel like Harry Maguire actually also has influence on the players. I feel like he's a very, as much as fans might not like him playing, etc. Fans might have their opinion on him playing for England. I feel like players respect Harry Maguire. I don't know what it is. That's the vibe that I get, that he's respected in the dressing room. And there's been reports in the past that suggested that as well, that he was a voice that players listened to. And even when he was captain, and even when he was stripped of his captaincy, he was still a player that had influence over the dressing room. So I wouldn't mind him and Varane if they are squad depth. I wouldn't mind that. But there's no way United should be paying that much wages for squad depth. Squad depth is the likes of Dalot, where you're on 80k a week, 70k a week, 60k a week. That's squad depth. When players are on 250 and they're sitting and they're a bench player sitting like this, that's where questions, have to be asked at that point. But I do think United need a fullback. I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka is good. I think he's good. I think he's way. You don't know my stance on Diogo Dalot. I don't think Diogo Dalot should be at the club. I don't think they should have recalled him from his loan. I think after his loan, they should have let him go. He had that one little spell last season, dipped in form after the World Cup. Hasn't been good since the World Cup, but still managed to get his contract extension. And he's here now, till 2028, I think it is. His contract extension is, his contract extension is to 2029. It's up actually till 2029. I don't think United should have kept him. I think he should have been one of the players that United offloaded that summer. But they decided to keep him instead. And that just, again, kind of shows me that I don't think United are going to go out and buy a right back. Because, guys, bear in mind, United need to go buy a right winger. We need to go and buy a right winger in the summer transfer. After we spent how much money on right wingers, we need to still go out and get... The players you want ain't selling shirts. Not good for business. Garnacho shirts are getting swiped at the United stores. Even a kid refused a free signed shirt. Little Yo is the only one with Sufyan Amrabat number 4. Oh, man. We cannot have Varane squad depth on 320k a week. That's fraudulent activities. Facts. I think Branthwaite, I can't even pronounce this brother's name. Branthwaite shall be good, since we need some homegrown players as well, and Maguire is leaving. That's true, but we've got Mason Mount. And that's why I think that's why they kept Johnny Evans for homegrown talent. Left centre-back options are Lukeba. I can't say... you guys are giving me names that I just can't pronounce, and I'm just going to embarrass myself on stream. Remember, guys, I've got pronunciation problems, yeah? I've got pronunciation problems. Is that set Inacio? I think that's how it's pronounced. Inacio. And then Branthwaite. That is, Branthwaite's name. They put an N in a very random place in his name. There's an N in the most randomest places. Branthwaite. Shout out to them three. Right centre back options: Todibo, Simikan, and Antonio Silva. I mean, it's interesting that we're linked to, you know, Antonio Silva is actually a player that we've been linked to in the summer as well. And I know that United have reportedly been scouting him, and I think it's João Neves, is that his name? At Benfica, a player with 120 million price tag. Come on. Like, where do we draw the line? Where do we draw the line and say, okay, we should be paying these price tags? I get it. United just scouting it. It's not like they've put a bid in. But again, I don't see Benfica, and this is why I say even with Lukeba and Simikan, sorry, I don't see RB Leipzig selling 2 players to one club in the same window, which is why I say I don't see Benfica selling Antonio Silva and João Neves both in one window. Of course, they're more likely to kind of get him off the books because, you know, 120, that's a big fee. But I don't see it happening. Imagine at a club at Man United, you have one right back who's better at defending, one is better at going forward. Honestly, both should go and bring 2 who could do both, but this bloody board. Exactly. Only at United would they have this issue. Only at United would they have the issue of one player being able to do one thing, another player being able to do another thing, and then trying to find a middle ground. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Big up to Troy, says, big up everyone. Big up to Troy. I hope you're well. Just trying to get through some of these comments here. Ridwan does not agree, says that Dalot is crap at both, though. He ain't good at anything. I don't know what the love is that, like, I think Diogo Dalot, he gives me the vibe that he's a nice guy. Like, personally, I don't in kind of any way doubt that he's probably a nice person. But I just don't get how people think he is the answer to the right back position. I don't even think Wan-Bissaka is. But I'm okay with having Aaron Wan-Bissaka as a backup option. I feel like Diogo Dalot, I wouldn't mind actually having him as a backup option as well. But I feel like they both have flaws that actually hinder us quite a bit, especially defensively. And I don't know the rating for Dalot, where it comes from. I just don't know. I think it's going to be Todibo for right centre back, Ratcliffe's connection, cheaper and easier to do deal. This is what I said at the beginning of the stream. If it's true and it's a 40 million price tag, and Nice are happy to sell him for 40 million, please, let's buy him. 40 million. That's low risk, low return. I don't know in what world 40 million is low risk, low return. But for the prices that we've paid over the last 10 years for players, 40 million is proper nice, proper bargain. Proper nice, proper bargain. It's not even a bargain. 40 million is still a lot. But I'm just traumatized by the fees that we've paid over the last 10 years. Now I'm hearing 40 million for a player. Sign me up. If we could get him on good wages as well, I'm all for it. Out of him and Tapsoba, in the summer, I was leaning more towards Tapsoba. But as the months have gone on, and the more that I've watched Bayer Leverkusen and the more that I've watched Nice, I'm leaning more towards Todibo. I think Todibo would be easier to fit in to the Premier League, adapt to the Premier League, than I think Tapsoba. I think Tapsoba has some flaws. I think he's got some flaws, and every player has flaws. Not every player is perfect. But I think Tapsoba's flaws are a bit more. There's a few defensive flaws that I just think would be scary. I think that would be scary. What do you think, Mason Mount? What do you think about Mason Mount coming back to compete for the right wing position? Direct replacement of Sancho. I want, and I know this is me just saying what I want, but we don't live in an ideal world, so you don't always get what you want. I want a right winger that is just a right winger. You know, like a tradition. I know I'm saying traditional right winger, but the likes of Saka, Liao, you know, Rodrigo, etc. Players that just run at their players. Oh, you said Mason. Oh, my bad. I thought you meant Mason Mount. Oh man, I thought you meant Mason Mount. I don't see that happening. Sorry. I don't see that happening. Sorry, I thought you meant Mason Mount because I've spoken about Mason Mount playing on the right wing before. I've mentioned it before. Big up to Ravi, says, where do you feel with this group of players the balance is coming from to really get a grip of games, to not fall apart? You know what? I don't know. And this is actually a very good question, because it does make me kind of wonder regarding, you know, are the players ever gonna mesh well enough to play together? Are they gonna mesh well enough this season to kind of get things going. I think, and I know this is, don't call me negative Nancy, guys. Don't say I'm being a Debbie Down or anything. I think this season is going to be a roller coaster. I think we're going to have, we've had some bad moments. I think there's more to come. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I feel like Ten Hag hasn't steadied the ship enough for me to feel like I'm at ease. Like, this is a very stupid analogy, but when you're on a boat and you feel like the captain hasn't steered the ship enough, so you're not taking off your lifeguard because there's a possibility you still might drown. That's how I feel. I don't feel comfortable enough taking off my life vest. Sorry, why did I call it a lifeguard? I don't feel comfortable enough taking off my life vest because I don't think the captain has steadied the ship enough. And I still think there's some hole somewhere in the boat that's going to catch us off guard, and then water's just going to, bam, come non-stop into the boat, and we're going to drown. I think that them hurdles are still to come, especially because we've still got a lot of teams to play. Like, in December alone, we're playing Chelsea, we're playing Newcastle, we're playing Liverpool, we're playing West Ham. I think we're playing Villa as well. We still got teams to play. And then obviously in the new year, we still got other teams to play. We still got the second part of City, second part of Arsenal, second part of Spurs, all of that kind of stuff. Champions League, December, we got 2 Champions League games. Bayern Munich. Someone asked me the other day I was on a guy called Judge Mo. I was on Judge Mo's channel, and an Arsenal fan asked me if I felt like at that point, I think it was like a week or 2 ago. I think it was after the Luton win. An Arsenal fan asked me if I felt like United should just part ways with Ten Hag now, bring in an interim to kind of steady the ship, and then go out and get a new manager next summer. And I just couldn't understand how people feel like, do you guys think, and this is a question to the audience, of course, do you guys think that if the month of December is a difficult month, do you think Ten Hag will basically be on the receiving end of a sacking? Because I said I don't see the point of sacking Ten Hag right now. In at this point of the season, after that Luton win, I said there's no point because there's still a lot to play for in the season. Top 5 is not out of reach. It's really and truly, it's not out of reach. Yeah, and as the season gets more intense, the likes of Arsenal, City, etc., in the Champions League making a deeper run. If United don't make the Champions League, they just have to focus on the league. So I didn't see the point of Ten Hag being sacked. I said, let him see the season out. The guy's had 2 transfer windows. What's the point of sacking him halfway through a season of, his second season at the club? Then it kind of defeats the purpose of this changed mentality the club is meant to have. We've gone through how many managers in the last how many years, and also it's not guaranteed that December is going to be a floppy month. It's not guaranteed it's going to be a crap month, because why? United have started to win the small battles, beating Luton. I know it's stupid for me to be like, oh, beating Luton, but that's the small battles. You're getting wins where you can, and then getting into a form. We got Everton now, I think, and then we got Newcastle, we got them run of games are scary. But I didn't see the point. I said there's no need to sack Ten Hag, and it's kind of pointless. But apparently, a lot of opposing fans feel like Ten Hag should get sacked, and I definitely see less United fans saying Ten Hag should be sacked, and it's definitely more opposing fans that I see saying it. Maybe I'm in my own little bubble. Maybe I'm not seeing it as much. But I'm not seeing that. For every probably one fan that I see saying Erik Ten Hag needs to go, there's probably like 50 other fans that are like Team Erik Ten Hag. And Koala doesn't count. Koala is probably one of the 2. There's not many people here on my channel that I see in the streams that actually say Ten Hag out. There's a few people. That's it. Big up to Tabislot in the chat, says, really and truly, let Erik Ten Hag stay. A few of you guys saying, Ridwan says, yes, he will eventually get sacked if we don't get top 5 and if it looks completely out of reach. All Glazers want is top 4. I remember seeing something that was basically saying that the reason why the Glazers were never going to sell is because the marketability of Manchester United was basically at all-time high, especially with Erik Ten Hag and the season that he had last season. I don't see I don't see the Glazers from what we've heard as well. The Glazers are not gonna. They will have the final say, but from a sporting perspective, this is all gonna be Sir Jim Ratcliffe. If Sir Jim Ratcliffe already has the manager in mind that he wants to bring, then Eric Ten Hag will not last the season. But what is giving me reassurance is the fact that despite everything, despite all the rumors that we're hearing about, Murto, Arnold, etc., like those were rumors we were hearing and then it was confirmed. But really, we ain't heard nothing about Ten Hag. So that gives me a bit of ease that Sir Jim Ratcliffe and whoever he brings in with his takeover has faith in the manager. They've got some belief in the manager. They got some support for the manager. I think that's most important. But I think if we come back to, March, April, and we look at it and we're like, yeah, we're sixth. We're about 7-8 points off top four. It's looking a bit sticky. I can't lie. It's looking a bit sticky. Sir Jim is bringing Graham Potter. God forbid. If Manchester United ever brought Graham Potter in, I'm going back to Saudi. I'm going back to make Umrah, and I'm going back to make dua against that. I'm going back. If you don't understand that, I recently went to Umrah. So I will go back to pilgrimage. I will go back and make prayers and pray that God does not let that happen. I will be there's no way Graham Potter at Manchester United, yeah. I'm not joking. At that point, I will boycott playing Hogwarts for the rest of my life just because of the name Potter. Just because of the name Potter. I'm not gonna lie, I think he's a good coach, but I just think he looked good in Brighton's system. Put me as a coach in Brighton, and I think I would look good. I think I got level 1 and level 2 FA qualification, so I could look good. But I feel like Brighton have a good structure in place, and that's what United are missing. Maybe with good structure, he could be a good manager at Manchester United. We'll never know, but I don't think. I'm not gonna lie, that Potter is not a United standard, and I know that's me making it sound big-headed with the club, but the caliber of managers that United should go for, if they were to go for managers, that name should never be on the list. They'll say Graham Potter is the English Ollie. Sidaf said Ten Hag in. It's only been a year and a half. Klopp took 4 years, Arteta took 4 years, 1 good season, and now some issues. So it's Ten Hag out. Be patient. That's it. No Harry Potter. One thing I will say about Arteta, because I think that's the biggest comparative that we see all the time. I think Graham Potter. You lot put Graham Potter in my. I think Arteta was lucky that the difficult seasons he had as a manager was during a time where there was no fans in the stadium. So a lot of the noise surrounding that was online. But when you're not getting those results in front of your home crowd, it's different because you're getting the backlash there. You're getting the backlash online. Every radio station talking about you, TalkSport, etc. You turn on Sky, everyone's talking about you. I don't know if managers watch YouTube and that, but every channel's talking about you. Every football podcast talking about you. And on top of that, you're getting booed in your own stadium. And I think Arteta was lucky because I think Arsenal fans already turned on him. I knew every Arsenal fan that was saying Arteta. Like, there was so many Arsenal fans that I know personally, that are not like content creators or anything, that were saying Arteta out, Arteta out, Arteta out. And now they love him. Last season, they loved him. And I just think it just shows that patience goes a little way. And you know what? In football, we've been spoiled. I think we've been spoiled as fans, not just United fans, but, you look in Europe and you look at Spain. You look at Real Madrid, for example. Zidane was going through a bad run of games. They were calling for his head. Gareth Bale was not performing. They were calling for his head. I think as football fans, we've lost the patience. And especially because United have not been good for a long time. When I was growing up, guys, I don't want to give away my age. Some of you don't know my age, but when I was growing up, when I was a young teenager, United were the best team. United were the best team in the world. Forget in England, United were the best team in the world. So my friends, my family members who are non-United fans, they could not stand the people in my family that supported United because we were loud with our chests. We were so loud. We were irritated. My cousins, my friends who are Arsenal fans, Chelsea fans, Liverpool fans, Spurs fans. I've got cousins who are Spurs fans. That makes no sense. But my cousins who are Spurs fans, they hated United. And now this has been the best 10 years of their life. Yeah. this has been the best 10 years of their life. I've got nephews who are young teenagers now, very young, 12, 13, 14, etc. They've known United watching football to suck. They've known us to be crap. Getting 5-2 against Leicester, 7-0 against Liverpool. Don't even remind me against Spurs, against City. Don't even remind me. One day one of my nephews said to me one day, so by default, my nephews are United fans. By default, because I buy them United shirts all the time. One of my other siblings is a United fan. We buy them United kits all the time. One day my nephew said to me, and this was recent, this is a couple of months ago, he plays FIFA a lot. So he said, I don't want to be a United fan anymore. And I was like, why? I thought he was going to say to me, I want to be a City fan. That's what I was preparing for. Then he said to me, United never win. Every time I watch the games, when I'm at like our family house, they're always losing. I want to support Barcelona. I said, well, you know what? You're a kid. So I said, you can support another team as well, but you have to support United. And he wasn't having it. He was like, why? They never win. I don't want to support them. I don't want to support them. Even when we go to games, we've been to a few games, and it's thank God it's games that we win, but they're not having it. And I feel like, and I just went on a tangent for no reason, but my point was that patience goes a long way. I know that it's been a long time since United have not won anything. It's been, 2012, 2013 season was the last time we won the Premier League. But I feel like United are turning a corner with Ten Hag. This season, we've been more unlucky than last in terms of injuries. I think people talk about, City. They talk about City missing out on players. When Haaland is not scoring goals, they talk about, how important Kevin De Bruyne is and his absence, etc. When Arsenal's losing players because of injury, they mention that, Liverpool, etc. But it's never given to Man United. That same leeway is never given in the media in particular. It's like the manager still has to answer for stuff that is out of his control. And I'm talking about injuries. Starlord says, big up to Starlord, says, I'm Eric Ten Hag till the end of facts. Until I feel like it's game over. Until I feel like it's game over and I feel like nothing's getting better. Until I see you, back to the boat analogy, guys. You know me, I like boats, innit? You know me, that's not even racist because I'm saying it about myself. I like boats. But back to the boat analogy. Until there's so much water in the boat and it's capsizing. I am Eric Ten Hag. I am Eric. I'm behind the manager. I'm backing the manager. What did you pray with in Qatar? You got to let that go. You got to let it go, man. Come on. Okay, guys, backstory about this. Tavislot is never going to let me live this down. I said, I think it was Eid. Was it Eid al-Adha? So Eid al-Adha is the second Eid in Islam. It's the second Eid of the year. It's the Eid that happens during the Hajj period. So I said that, I spoke to people in Qatar and they said, after the Eid break, I said after the Eid break in Qatar, it was going to be a done deal and Qatar were coming in. And I swear Tavislot has not let me live that down. It was a moment of lapse. I was joking. I never had any inside news. I never had any inside information. So I didn't pray for anything relating to Qatar when I went to Saudi. I never did that. To be honest, I'm not going to lie, guys. It was such an overwhelming experience. It was a very emotional experience. I didn't even think about football while I was there. We played Sheffield United and we played Man City and Copenhagen while I was there. And I only caught up with the games when I came back to the UK, because when you're there, it's just, you're just, you outside worldly life stuff don't matter. And I think anyone that's Muslim will agree. Big up to Tavislot, just done a madness, gifted 5 memberships. In my language, we call it shan. 5 memberships. Big up to everyone that got a membership, because I can't see it here on my screen. Congratulations. Big up to Tavislot. Appreciate the support always. If you lot want to be like Tavislot and the 5 that has just been gifted memberships, you lot can hit the link. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get a whole load of other stuff as well. And you know what, guys? I'm actually considering to do a lot more later streams in the evening. I think 6, 7, 8 p.m. is always quite clustered when it comes to content creators. A lot of people live at that time, but I do think later streams are kind of fun, man. I enjoy later streams as long as nobody calls me. I'm kind of Gucci with that. But big up to everyone and big up to Tavislot in the chat. W's in the chat for Tavislot. Pyramid scheme is big up to pyramid scheme. Big up to pyramid scheme. Always not fond of Mason Mount as far as I'm concerned. Says, did Arteta make this many obviously bad signings in 18 months? That's true. Let's go. You know what? I don't want to do that. I don't want to sit there and do the comparisons of players that Arteta signed in his first 18 months versus, players that Ten Hag signed, etc. I think how much money was spent. That's the most important thing. That's what we have to look at. And you know what? I'm going to go look at it. Arteta spending first 18 months. Hopefully I can find an easy table that shows me everything. Arteta, okay. Damn. This is actually, damn. I shouldn't have. Sometimes you shouldn't go looking, because when you go looking, you find what you don't want to find. But Arteta spent about 70 million, in his first 18 months and this was during the pandemic, obviously. So a lot of clubs weren't really spending money. I think that's the most important thing. A lot of clubs were not really spending money, and I'm saying that when United went and flipping bought Sancho, but 70 million in 18 months in comparison to 400 million in 12 months. It's not even 18 months. The manager's not been here for 18 months. Essentially in 12 months, because he came in the summer and he obviously had 2 summer transfer windows. If you compare that and you say 70 million versus 400 million, it's a madness. That is a madness. But I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. I don't know what to say about that. I don't know. Big up to Sidaf. I'm legally blind in it. I'm just gonna ignore pyramid schemes comment. I'm just gonna ignore that. 5 out and 5 ins before next year. Who do you think we should sell and who shall we bring in? That's a great game. Let's play that game. Before next year, as in, do you mean as in before next year, as in next season, or before next year, as in 2024? That's what I want to know. Because if it's before 2024, I don't see United buying anyone in the summer. But if I was to say summer transfer window, the ideal, okay, next season. For me, I think the outgoings depend on who they extend contracts for. I think Pyramid Scheme says, I didn't even know, I was just waffling, but hey, here we are. Look at that, you were right. 70 million versus 400 is kind of mad. But back to Sidaf's question. If I was to say, because the likes of Anthony Martial, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, there's quite a few players whose contracts are expiring. So I'm not going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on players that we can sell for money, that we can get some money for. I think number 1, Harry Maguire. I think no matter what, I think his time at United's done right now. I think he's just there playing when he needs to play, but I think it's out of convenience. It's out of chance. So I'll say Harry Maguire, number 1, is first. I don't know what, but for me, it'll be a like for like. We sell Harry Maguire and we bring in a centre back. We sell Casemiro. We bring in a DM. Who do we bring in? That's a different question. I think that's a different question. But I do think we need a deep lying midfielder. And we say that after obviously letting Pogba go, but I still think we need a deep lying midfielder, someone who can collect the ball from the back line, who can, be that outlet. So that's 2. So I'll say Maguire, Casemiro will be off to Saudi, I think. He's already on his way to Al Hilal or Al Ittihad or Al Ittifaq or Al Shabab or one of them crescent, Al Tay. I'm trying to name as many teams as I can. Al Fatah. Who else is there? Al Nasser. What other teams? I've obviously missed quite a few, but there's a lot of options that he could go to. So I would say Casemiro will be number 2. I think number 3. This is my assumption that Jadon Sancho leaves in January. So I'm not mentioning Jadon Sancho in this because I'm just assuming that he's going to leave in January. But number 3, I will say Varane. I think Varane will go next summer. I will be shocked to see, especially with the last month or so, the fact that he's been dropped to 4th option. Playing out of I think he's playing out of chance because Johnny Evans is getting injured, Maguire's getting injured, Lindelof is out, etc. Luke Shaw injured. So I think he is reaching a time where he is probably weighing out his options, especially Bayern Munich. I think Wildcat just said, Mina, you've seen where someone is saying Varane is leaving. I've seen a report. It was from I think it's a German reporter, a very well-known German reporter. As well as Fabrizio, that they both said that Bayern Munich are interested in him, but it's nothing concrete, i.e. they haven't put in a bid, but they're interested and they're looking at their options. And The fee is United are looking for something between 25 to 30 million, but the biggest problem will, of course, be wages. That would be the biggest problem. There you go. Florin Plettenberg said it. I've seen like 3-4 different reports just before I went live. So I think that's why I say that I see Varane going out, which means another centre-back has to come in. I feel like at this point, it's like for like. In an ideal world, United sell Anthony. In an ideal world, United sell Anthony. But first and foremost, there is no way in hell Manchester United are going to recoup the fees of 100 million euros, 80 million pounds, whatever, how much it was. There's no way in hell that they will recoup those fees, first and foremost. Secondly, who the hell is going to buy him? Who the hell is going to touch him with a stick? Who's going to literally buy him? And if they do buy him, how much are they going to buy him for? 30 million? 30 million? 40 at best, maybe? Come on, be serious. We are not getting back 50% of what we paid for him. I don't think so. I don't think any club really looks at him and sees much value in paying a fee like 40, 50 million. I think the only way they sell him is if there's some sort of Manchester United offer to pay some of his wages. There's an incentive. I don't think no one is going to try and just buy him outright. But like I said, in my ideal world, United sell him because I know United are going to be in the market next summer for a right winger. So I would rather have him off the books. Jadon Sancho's going to be gone, probably. And then we can have, Pellistri, Ahmad, etc. as backup options if we can sign a 10 out of 10 right winger. But guys, what right wingers are even out there to buy? Except for Bukayo Saka. I'm not saying that we should go buy. But except for him, what kind of right wingers are out there that United can even go buy for a reasonable price? So again, sorry, let me get back to my list. So that's Varane, Maguire, Casemiro. So that's 3. I think United will offload some younger players. I think Hannibal might leave. Again, another player who I think plays out of convenience, because you see in the games that when he does perform very well, the next game he gets dropped. And I think a player that is in the manager's plans, that wouldn't happen to him. Why? Because McTominay, when he's playing well, he continues to play every game. He is in the starting lineup. Hannibal will play good one game, not get an opportunity to play the next couple games, then is back in the lineup again. So I think Hannibal will go, but he's not a player that I think United will feel like they have to replace him, because they could just pluck another player out of the academy to make up numbers. And there's some good young midfielders coming up through Manchester United's academy right now. So that's 4. Lastly, I think Martial is going regardless. I think he's going out. He's leaving. He's leaving on it's either they sell him in January for like 10 million or he leaves on a free in the summer. So that's that. The 5th player, I can't really think of anyone, I can't really think. I was going to say Luke Shaw, but I think Luke Shaw is Manchester United through and through. Like, I know that's really silly to say, but I don't see Luke Shaw leaving Manchester United. And if he leaves, I feel like he leaves with his heels dragging, like it's forced. He's pushed out. I don't see him leaving. And it kind of says a lot that like every manager that comes in keeps him in. And he's always that starting left back. United have never looked to replace him. United have never looked in the market for a left back because they've been happy with him. I know some people don't rate him, but I think Luke Shaw maybe. McTominay, Van der Beek, Malacia. How could I forget Van der Beek? I forgot Van der Beek and Malacia because I forgot they exist, guys. I'm at a point right now where if out of sight, out of mind. I haven't seen neither of them. I forgot they exist. I'm not gonna lie. I think I'm naming players, by the way, that I think that United have to replace. Van der Beek, Malacia, they make up numbers. They make up squad numbers. They're not essential number 11s to start to replace, or essential squad depth players to replace. I think Malacia ain't going. I think wherever he is right now, if he's locked in Eric Ten Hag's basement or whatever, if he's locked in Rashford's basement, we don't even know where he is, guys. There's been no sighting of him. Let me actually see his Instagram. Let me see. Hold on, guys. Wait. Hold on. Let me see if he's on Instagram. Let me see what his last post was. His last post was 11th June, guys. The guy don't exist. The guy does not exist anymore. He is a hologram. He was a hologram last season. He doesn't exist. Because where the hell has he gone? All we've heard is that he got injured before preseason. They said he was going to be out for preseason. Suddenly, I think it was like October time, Ten Hag came out and said he's out for the whole season with no information about what happened to him. We have not seen him at all. We have not seen him at all. Like, forget even forget the fact that he's injured. Yeah, okay, cool. But there's players who we see out injured, and then we see them making appearances in pictures. You know, they're at a game, they're sitting in the crowd, and you know when Sky Sports pans to him, and they're sitting in the crowd like this because they're injured. I ain't seen that. I have seen pictures of them going out for team meals. Yeah, I've seen Luke Shaw in one of the pictures. Never saw Tyrell Malacia. I have not seen Tyrell Malacia in any of him and Rashford were like batty and bench. Yeah, in the summer. If you're not from the UK, being batty and bench is is a slang term used to compare people that are like stuck by the hip. They're always together, kind of thing. Him and Rashford were like that for most of the end of last season and the summer. Suddenly nothing. His last Instagram picture, he posted it 11th of June. Yeah. 9th of June, he posted this picture of him working out in the gym. And it says, the question isn't who is going to let me, it's who is going to stop me. It's Ten Hag because you're locked in his basement. Because where the hell are you? Where on earth are you? He was a hologram. This is all holograms I'm looking at right now. This is not a real person because free Malacia in it. Wherever he is, free him imminently. Imminently. Malacia is in one of the recent United videos. Show me. I want to see it. Malacia has had a knee operation. I'm not denying it, guys. I'm just saying, why are we not seeing, we're not hearing anything about it? But back to the topic of Malacia, I wouldn't let him go because I actually like him. I think he's a good player. I think he's a good squad depth player to have as well. You lot are actually laughing. You lot are actually killing me. Show me, please. Let me go look at United's recent videos. I hate going onto that club's Twitter page. I don't want to do that, man. But let me see any of their recent posts. They're just promoting Black Friday sales. Do you have no shame? Do you have no shame? I'm just seeing what they're selling the kit for 40% off. No, I'm joking. It's on the United YouTube. Okay, let me look at that. Let me go look at it now, guys, because we need to debunk this right now. We need to debunk this rumor that was started. Whoever started the rumor, you're a disgrace. Whoever started the rumor, you are a disgrace. It was me. I started the rumor. All right, cool. I'm going on to where's their YouTube channel, man? I'm trying to find their YouTube channel, but let's find it. Let's get it because I am gonna. Okay, here they are. Oh, this. Okay, so it's Palestri and Hannibal. The video of Palestri and Hannibal. They're playing Guess Who. All right, let me turn the volume down in case I get done for copyright or something. Let me turn the volume down, and I'm just gonna fast forward to bits to see. I really want to get that Guess Who game. You know, that would actually be fun to play. Oh, he's there. Oh my god, is that real? Is that a hologram? It looks real, guys. It looks real. Otherwise, if it's a hologram, it's a very good one. If that's a hologram, that's a very good one because it's very 3D. So he's looking legit. He's got a sharp trim. That means he's got a haircut recently. Guys, whoever started the rumor about him being missing, yeah, we've debunked the theory in less than a minute on the channel. We've debunked it in less than a minute. It wasn't me that started the rumor. I was just going off of what I've heard. You know me, I don't like rumors, guys. If you guys know me, you know I don't like rumors. You know I don't like rumors. But let's get to the last topic because I feel like we just spoke a lot about United. And I want to speak a bit about, I touched on it earlier in the video and I said I was going to come back to it in the end, about Manchester City and their charges. Manchester City and their charges. And when I'm talking about their charges, I'm talking about their 115. That is a lot of charges, guys. If you were an actual criminal, yeah, and say you were like, I don't know, because I don't want to talk about criminal activities here on my channel, but say you were a criminal, yeah, but you were like not a big criminal, you weren't like a murderer or anything, but you dabbled in some criminal activities. If you had 115 charges in court, yeah, don't turn up with a lawyer because you're going to prison. You're going to prison. So if there is any way that City walk away from this without any serious punishment, for me, they're paying someone. And the reason why I'm saying this is because just before I came live, and it's actually been in the news the last couple of weeks, I don't know if you follow any news outside of football, you'd definitely be familiar. They'll settle like Shakira did. Shakira, the hips don't lie. Hips don't lie, yeah? And nor do the charges. The charges don't lie either. But if you've been following the news, it became official, I think, around 5 p.m. today, UK time, where Abu Dhabi-backed investment fund Redbird is set to take over control of two big media outlets in the UK, The Telegraph and The Spectator, after they agreed to pay the loans by the previous owners, the Barclay family. Now, the owner of this fund in Abu Dhabi is none other than Sheikh Mansour. Sheikh Mansour is the owner of it. And this is why I say politics and everything else is kind of intertwined. Football, investment, it's kind of intertwined, because he's come in and he's paying this one, I think it's like a 1.6 billion debt. It's about a 1.6 billion pound debt that they've paid off. And this is another outlet owned by foreign investors. But I'm not going to get into that. I want to talk about this specifically because they're helping the economy, the British economy, by paying this, bringing their investors in. I promise you, Sheikh Mansour is probably on the phone to Rishi Sunak, who is the Prime Minister of the UK, and is probably saying, make these charges go away. The same way that when Newcastle were being taken over by Saudi Arabia, the PIF, there was a Saudi politician that was lobbying to the Prime Minister to get the FA to authorize the takeover in exchange for weapons being brought. That's why I feel like when we talk about football, and people always say don't bring politics into it, I feel like it's kind of all in, it's mixed. And there's no way that City can walk away from 115 charges. I don't care how many they get found guilty for. Say they get found guilty for 70% of the charges, yeah? 70%. I don't know how much that is in maths, yeah? But if they get done for 70% and they don't get stripped of a title, they don't get a lot of point deduction to a point where they're sitting in like the third division, because I think it sets a bad precedent. When Everton have 10 points deducted for one charge that they kind of welcomed, they worked with the independent commissioners. They made it be known that they made a certain loss over a number of years. They didn't cook the books, by the way. Everton didn't cook the books. They just broke the rules of how much of a loss you're allowed to make over 3 years. And they made it be known. When they submitted their accounts, they made it be known. And they worked with them. They worked with the commissioner, the independent commissioner that were investigating them. If that gets them a 10-point deduction, what does 115 charges get you? How many charges do Chelsea have? Please let me know in the chat as well. Big up to Kadeem, our resident Everton fan. Says, if it's Everton, let's give them a 10-point deduction. For one charge is sad. It's actually kind of sad, but I don't know if they're trying to make it an example of Everton. I'm not going to lie. Koala says, no disrespect, but no one gives a F about Everton. Not going to lie. Everton is British. It's English football heritage. They are one of the founding members of the Premier League, of the Football League. They've never been relegated. They're one of the few teams now that still remain that have never been relegated. They are English football heritage. Obviously, what we like for Scousers, what we don't like about Scousers, is a different conversation. But Evertonians, they gave us Wayne Rooney. If Everton get a 10-point deduction, I think City should bring back Thomas Cook on the baby blue kicks and Stephen Ireland. They need to go back to 15 years ago. Big up to Wildcat, says they'll get a slap on the wrist and maybe a loss on a game in the past. That's impossible. I want their treble gone. Wipe it off. Wipe that treble off. I need them to investigate the Haaland transfer. Yeah, guys, this is not being, honestly, I'm not being dramatic or anything, but they need to investigate the Haaland transfer and obviously many other transfers too. But there's no way that Everton can get a 10-point deduction, and other clubs have got point deductions as well. And I feel bad because I feel like that Everton deduction, how many teams in the past in English football have had point deductions and just kind of, the consequences of it swallowed them up? I think Portsmouth is an example. If I'm not wrong, Portsmouth is an example. Teams that have literally had point deductions that are now fighting for their life in League 2, League 3, etc. I'm not saying I want to see Everton that far or I want to see City that far, but I think that a bad precedent has been set. And also Everton did make it clear as well that they will be looking at the way that the commissioners, I was about to say police commissioner, but yeah, get the police involved at this point. But they said that they will be looking at the way that other clubs are dealt with. Chelsea, City. People have been mentioning, saying, what if United come up on the radar of the commissioners? What if they, start to become concerned? There's no way anyone looks at the way that United are operating and think, yeah, these are people that are breaking FFP rules. We are poor. We're broke. We are moving broke in the transfer windows. We are literally scrummaging pennies in January trying to get a couple million together so we can get a loan. We are broke. So if United have been cooking the books and have been getting around things in certain ways to avoid FFP, but they end up, being under investigation, just lock up the entire Glazer family, every single one of them, even the kids. Send them to a, what's it called? What's the kiddie prisons called? I forgot what the kiddie prisons is called, where under 16s go. Send them all there. If you got a Glazer surname, off you go. Off you go. Knowing the Glazers, they lied about that. Koala says Chelsea and City gonna be just fine. I don't think City are gonna be fine. Honestly, like maybe that's what City fans are telling themselves. I don't think they're gonna be. Ridwan says Pep Fraudiola needs to be investigated too. Barca and Man City. His hair follicles would have stayed attacked on his cranium if he didn't commit fraud. It's funny that the only team where he hasn't won the Champions League at is the team that's not really having financial problems, or they're not being investigated for some financial stuff, financial fair play, or whatever you want to call it. Bayern Munich has managed to be sustainable financially. Maybe he sold his soul. Maybe he did sell, literally, like no pun intended. Maybe he sold his soul to win the Champions League everywhere he went, and at Bayern Munich it just never worked out. Maybe, I don't know. That's what I think. The Premier League Independent Commission hired Clattenburg to be the J. Edgar Hoover of this investigation, and has it out for them. I think that they will go out for them to prove a point. Like, I think with the whole City thing, they will be out for City, not to prove that they've done something wrong, but to prove a point and make an example of them. Because I do say that it goes like, because when you talk about like the Super League, for example, they were one of the teams in the Super League. Manchester United, we're not innocent. We were one of the teams too. But when you start going at the big clubs, I don't ever see Man City getting relegated, because the amount of revenue they probably provide to the FA and whatnot is probably, as their financial year that just passed, they recorded a record number of revenues. I think it was 730 million, around that amount. They didn't disclose what the breakdown was of the 730 million, but they recorded 730 million, which was a record, and it's the highest in the Premier League. Its second is Liverpool. No one's batting an eyelid. Part of the FFP charges that they're facing, I remember seeing emails that were leaked about the fact that their sponsors, they had these sponsors from the Middle East, from Abu Dhabi in particular, who was paying money to them, but it was actually coming from their owner. It was coming from the royal family. So I think obviously there's dodgy stuff happening there, but I think the commissioners, or the independent commissioners that are handling this, they probably look at Everton and think, well, in the grand scheme of revenue and how big of a club it is, because Everton's historically a big club, but in terms of winning trophies, Premier Leagues, Champions League, all of that stuff, they haven't won 20 Premier Leagues, 10 Champions Leagues, etc. They haven't won 10 Premier Leagues and 3 Champions Leagues or whatever. They probably feel like they could make an example out of Everton, and Chelsea and Man City isn't what they really want to get in for. Like, they don't want to make an example of them. And I feel like in this instance, maybe Everton just grabbed they got the shorter end of the stick, if you want to call it that. Oh shit, my controller just fell. I think they got the shorter end of the stick, and it's unlucky. Honestly, it's unlucky, and I don't believe it. It's nepotism, basically. It's essentially nepotism. But I think with City, as much as we can hope that something's gonna happen, they're gonna get investigated, blah 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 blah. Bro, money talks. Your owner has just funded a takeover for two of the biggest outlets in the biggest media outlets in the UK, bailed them out from 1.3 or 1.6 billion pounds. Your owner has good relations, and your owner's royal family has good relations with the government of the United Kingdom. They'll just make it go away. They'll just make it go away. Remember when City wanted to get Messi and they got hit with FFP, then UEFA reversed the decision. I remember that. It was just a swift bank transfer. Literally, like, how that is just funny. It was just so funny when I saw that, because I was like, how can you be, getting 250 million in revenue for sponsorship, but the sponsor's website was just made a month and a half ago? That's suspicious. That's weird. But big up to everyone. It's a longer stream than what I anticipated. It was only meant to be an hour. It's actually been nearly an hour and a half. It's 10 p.m. here. But I might start looking to do these a bit more regularly, just so we can have a chit chat later in the evening on a mellow vibe, on a nice vibe. If you don't want to know what I'm gonna do, I've decided that I want to learn how to play Fortnite. And I know you lot are probably thinking, what the hell? But I was talking about it yesterday on stream as well, saying that I really think I could be good at it. So I've asked my nephew to teach me how to play Fortnite, and I will do some streams later in the year, maybe in the new year, when I get good at it. But make sure you guys hit the like button on your way out. I'll be back tomorrow with another stream as well, where we're going to talk about some more stuff. I think I'm going to be back for a vibe along for the women's team who are playing Liverpool midweek on Wednesday. So make sure you lot hit that subscribe button. Make sure you guys hit like. You guys already know what it is. Yeah. And if you don't know what it is, then get to know what it is. If you want to become a member, you can join it. You can become a minion. You can join the minionship. It's the link that's pinned in the chat, and it's also in the bio of this video. If you want a podcast to listen to, new episode of Le Carrington drop. That's a Manchester United women's podcast. That link is also in the bio as well, so you can have a listen to that. Manchester United will be back on the weekend, obviously, with some men's football where we take on Everton. So I'll be back with a stream at some point during the week to preview that. But we'll be back with content, obviously, throughout the week. You guys know what it is. Big up to everyone. I hope you have a wonderful Monday night, and I hope you have a great day tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow with another stream. So until tomorrow, guys, you guys already know what it is. Big up to everyone. Love. Peace.